Fix on that Genji now, trying to flank around the side. Nox goes for an Earth Shatter, but it doesn't really connect in the way he would have liked it to. Zevo's in the mix, but he gets taken down. Tvik forced to dash through, but it was so much damage, and AKM's McCree cuts shreds from Sweden. And they'll finish the map. They get it done. But it wasn't clean, it wasn't easy, and they don't have any more time in the bank.
This has been a fantastic battle between AKM and Tvik. Both players above 30% of overall team damage. You can see the beginning of the game. As soon as that pick goes down on Svilo, AKM forces everything out on his Zevo side, gets him so split from the rest of the team. A great initial push, but now it's going to be very tough on France on the defensive end here.
Yeah, they got slowed down so much they finished the map in overtime, which means that the time bank that Sweden has, they have the entire thing to use. And all they have to do is get the first tick on the point, which means 33%. That's all they have to do. We saw they were quite effective at their first point take last time around. Rogue definitely need to be respecting this. Although their composition will unlikely change that much. This is not the team that's going to go for, you know, like a Team Canada kind of approach, like a Narissa, Torbjorn, or you know, a Bastion or something like that. We might maybe a Bastion. We saw Junkertown yesterday, but they'll probably play a little bit more sensible here. And you can see there's Nico on the Zarya, which is not something we always see him on.
Well, the Zarya, Ryan, you're preparing for potentially the Junkrat on the other side. You get the Zarya charged up, and she can do a ton of damage. We'll see. I mean, Tvik has played the Junkrat pretty consistently throughout this. I'm interested to see if Sweden rolls out with this, with Manitin on the Widow. They can put a ton of pressure and maybe able to catch France by surprise.
I'm okay with this setup here as well. McCree's incredibly susceptible to Widowmaker, especially at these ranges. That shield from Nox is going to make life a little bit harder for Manitin, but he's getting some damage done with that poison mine. Snilo's flanking right now, so you can see him up on the top right briefly on that Tracer. This is going to force France into that back corner. Tvik finds soon though, that's a great little pickup, and it's going to force the res. France have to go now. They need to be ready to push forward and get in the face of Sweden if they get too close. They can't sit back and just let this happen to them.
Yeah, but you saw a little bit here from Manitin's POV, how far he forced AKM back, and now the kills are starting to trickle in for Sweden. Just the free damage that he's able to get down. Manitin at range, picks off one. AKM trying to swing this fight in France's favor. It's going to be rezzed up right away, though. Chips brings Tvik right back in.
Almost one tick, they've almost got it. Oh, France had to get back quickly enough, but no, Unko was the last man. And the Hail Mary play from the Angel was just not going to get it done. Now we got a series, and we deserve one. These two teams have been going back and forth for so long. We've been waiting for this match for a long time as well.
The Widow pick was great there coming out from Sweden. Manitin was able to create a lot of space for Snillo to go on a flank, and then Tvik just forcing the team into that back left corner. With the Junkrat, there was really nothing that Team France could do.
One apiece in this series now. Next map, of course, is going to be Assault. It's going to be an interesting one. Much more to be played. It's all tied up here. We'll be back after the break with more of Sweden versus France. Don't go anywhere.
BlizzCon 2017 is brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
supremacy in the European region. They won't have anything more today, unfortunately. But Hanamura match is going to be our next map.
Excited to see how Sweden comes out here on Hanamura. We just saw France play this against South Korea, so you know those guys have the opportunity to watch in the back. Maybe they kind of know something that they can exploit here.
Or perhaps they're just thinking to themselves, if our way of play worked against South Korea, how could it go wrong here? How could it fail us? They're going to be starting on the attacking side with a composition that doesn't resemble anything out of the ordinary, Matt. This is classic vintage Rogue. And on Sweden, one could say mostly the same. Manhattan on the Roadhog, though.
We'll see. It looks like he's just kind of sitting up top on the Roadhog. It's going to make things very difficult to kind of walk through this choke. Obviously, the threat of the hook from Roadhog, and now when he's able to take a breather, take a little bit more damage, just creates so much space just by being just a large object. As Snillo takes Soon out right at the beginning of the game, probably not going to be able to get rezzed.
Tell you what, they're both not getting res. They'll give you the big tip. He was too deep though, you're right. Snillo's positioning would have made it impossible to go for the res, but France are just looking to see what they can get here. If they can draw anything out, or perhaps try and exploit some sort of vulnerability in the setup of Sweden, but that was largely an underwhelming push, and while they may have generated some more percentage for themselves, so have Sweden.
Yeah, I mean, the push comes in soon.
Now that second tick just around the corner, and it is done. A good start for the Frenchmen again, much the same vein as their performance against South Korea.
And now you know both sides don't have any support ults here. Soon can land a big pulse bomb. Maybe you're able to get onto the point. You take another look at this. Nox pushing Manhattan off the side, gets another jump there. Able to make it back onto the map.
Nox, the aforementioned here, using his extra time alive now to try and corral his team into a position. They're going to make their first foray into the second stage on this map. Again, high ground control is imperative. Very difficult to try and take. It is a Snillo in the backside as well. When you try to set up in his close quarters, you leave yourself vulnerable to flanking attacks and traces. And Snillo has done a bang-up job of getting in there and flanking this whole tournament.
Yeah, Tavic's going to have the mobility to get up and contest this high ground as well. They're really trying to force AKM to go a different route. Here will be the Primal Rage in close quarters, a whole hog as well, just forcing the members of France back.
Manhattan nicely done with a whole hog there. Again, close quarters makes for an easy meal for the hungry hog. France maybe begins a different route of approach. The problem is, on this map, if you want to push through the main door, you can, but you're so susceptible to that very, very strong high ground position. It's almost like you have no choice but to go up on that right side as an attacking team and just try and grind your way through.
Yeah, I mean, you have the 76. That's the ideal position to put him in. 76 going down the middle, trying to look up towards that high ground. I mean, there could be a player to the top left, players to the top right, players directly above you. There's not really a great angle. I mean, I think you would kind of have to wonder, instead of kind of changing course of attack, maybe you get a little bit more of a shield tank in his way, get him some more space to make something happen.
AKM there grounds that rocket as well. Oh! No Dragon Blade for them, for Vic to come through. We didn't even need to use that one. AKM though has his tactical visor pretty much denied there. It does get risked. Vic fell himself. Now that Dragon Blade's coming, I maybe was waiting for a little bit earlier on. Transcenden's going to make it impossible, and that's going to be the Helix rocket to follow. That's the revenge that AKM was looking for. Now we move on towards the point. Snillo forced to an early recall there because of this damage from AKM up on the side. Self-destruct finds Snillo, so he wasn't able to get towards safety. One tick already. opportunity. Chips is going to try and throw himself in there. Valiantly, he makes his way forward, but it's not going to be enough. Only Maniton up on his feet, and again, it was a low ground resurrect. Maniton really wasn't there to help out. He was picked up soon as well. Vic puts the wall up. It's a blue wall, not the green variety, unfortunately, and perhaps that's what Sweden would have needed here. AKM sits back. How about them apples, Sweden? 2 minutes and 55 seconds on the clock. Want Chips high in with that?
And although you get no use of the tac visor pretty much from AKM, the biggest kill there is when Chips pops his Valkyrie and he kind of flies up right in front of AKM. AKM just gets res, takes him out. They get to Vic weak when he pulls the Dragon Blade. They have the Transcendence. They kill him as well. And then they just funnel their way onto the point.